2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us.
All right, you guys, I have with me here today one of my most favorite people. Probably one of my best friends in my life, one of the most important people in my life, my older brother, Tyler. What's up, you guys? Welcome to the Therapy Brothers podcast. I'm Brannon.
I'm Tyler. We're brothers.
We're therapists.
We're not afraid of your questions.
So bring it. But I didn't invite him on the podcast because he's my older brother and he's awesome, although I think he is awesome. He knows as much about sex addiction treatment and recovery and betrayal trauma treatment and recovery as anybody that I know in my life. And he has a ton of wisdom, ton of knowledge. Tyler, I'll let you kind of explain what you do for a living and what you got going so they can understand who you are.
Sure. Thanks, B. I'm really excited to be here.
I go by B, by the way, so you're here.
Yeah, sorry, I call him B. Yeah, we actually do the exact same thing for work. Mm-hmm. I don't know how we both ended up falling into this part of the work. I know that I went to grad school and started getting into addictions work, and I was working for the drug courts of southeastern Idaho for a while after I graduated. And then you called me and said, hey, Ty, like, nobody is doing sexual addiction work the right way. Like,
right.
We ought to go into business together. And so we actually set up an office together in Logan, Utah, that you never came to.
I got busy here in Lehi and never headed up to Logan. So I ditched out on Tyler, and he followed through and has since just killed it there in Logan in terms of not just business-wise, but I kind of laugh. It's like he's a celebrity up in Logan.
Whatever.
People love him and know him as a person who's inspired them and helped them heal their relationships and just do the hardest work. So I've referred several clients to Tyler, and they never ever complain at all. They love going to you, Tyler. So
yeah, at least not to you, right?
yeah. So, anyways, what else do you got going, Tyler?
Yeah, so we also started another little project that we're working on right now that's called Love Strong, and really the focus is on expanding the principles of recovery to wholehearted living, especially for men.
Nice.
Trying to take the principles of recovery from sexual addiction and expand them into like growing into full wholehearted masculinity and manhood.
What do you mean by that? Wholehearted living, masculinity, manhood?
Yeah, it's like this idea.
Is that like being tough? Like when I used to
Well,
wrestle you and beat you down and stuff? Is that like that?
Well, that never actually happened.
Well,
but you tried, and it's not like that. What I mean is
Tyler actually knocked my 2 front teeth out when I was like 7 years old. So yeah,
it wasn't really fair. I've always had the age advantage on you. So no, but it's this idea that the principles you teach here on the podcast, it's taking those and expanding those into being the kind of a man who lives authentically, with transparency, with honesty, with the ability to be in touch with their own darkness and be able to confront their darkness and own it and make some good out of it. The ability to stand up for the things that matter, not just your work, but being involved with family, and also cultivating a heart that says, I'm alive.
Okay. So what I'm hearing you say is that recovery is about so much more than not touching your penis, not cheating on your wife, not doing this bad behavior, but it's actually stepping into your power or who you already are as a man. Is that what you're saying?
100%. I always talk to my clients about this idea that most people come into my office needing to stop a bad habit.
Yeah.
And if the focus only stays on the bad habit, they've missed everything, because what the real gift of being forced into recovery is that it's an opportunity to reconnect to who you really are and to shrink out who you thought you were.
I say that all the time, that recovery is not about, working your way up, a stair step to a place. It's actually uncovering. It's getting rid of all the junk, all of the gunk. Kobe calls it the spike narrative, the shame, the trauma. You don't get rid of the trauma, but you get rid of the stuff that it creates. And what you'll discover deep, deep down is that you are a son of God who is loved and who is powerful in a good way and who can create love and with a partner, right? And you can be intimate, you can be vulnerable. All those things are there. But how do you uncover that crap?
That's the hard part, right? It's like you're talking, I'm thinking about like Kung Fu Panda when he finally gets the dragon scroll and he opens it up and it's like just this like blank sheet with his own reflection coming back. And
I love that.
Then he comes to the conclusion that there is no secret ingredient. That's what recovery work is it's uncovering the fact that you already all had it to be the kind of man or the kind of husband or even the kind of woman that you wanted to be. It's that we get stuck because we have this world that kind of injects things that kick us around, and we have traumatic things happen in our lives, or we start to adopt these false beliefs of who we think we are, like right. All the shame, or what Kobe would call the spike narrative. All of that stuff starts to feed us, and then we start to believe that something that's not actually true.
Right.
And so in order to uncover it back, we have to treat ourselves differently than we've ever treated ourselves before.
Okay.
We have to meet ourselves with compassion, with understanding, with patience. We have to step into confronting those dark places where we've received those messages that we've always believed that aren't actually true.
Okay, Tyler, you just said, I think, kind of the key piece to it all. And it's, one of my favorite quotes is the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek, right? Joseph Campbell. And here's the thing is, if you want to overcome your shame, if you want to overcome your trauma and those type of things, then you're going to have to step into some dark places. I believe that the way to heal from your shame is to turn and face it. The way to not run from your fear is to turn and battle it and fight it. And I think the most important ingredient to real recovery, real true recovery, is courage.
Absolutely.
Courage is the thing that helps you resonate on such a higher level where you can create real authenticity, real vulnerability, real love and peace in your life. Right?
100%. And that's the problem is that people come into even our office sometimes and they say, okay, well, give us a few tools and skills and then we'll be on our way and we'll always feel better about it.
Right.
And unfortunately, like what we don't tell our clients at the beginning, because they never come back if we do, is that half of recovery is learning how to see and embrace and confront pain.
Absolutely.
And not just to confront it, but to embrace it as part of the process for our growth.
Yes.
Because that's how we end up stepping into our true potential, and we can't have growth without it.
Well, you think about addiction. The nature of addiction is to do what you can to avoid pain.
Absolutely,
right? And even betrayal trauma recovery, when you're caught in that fear cycle, you're running from the fear, you're spinning, you're trying to force everything to be okay. And the way that you start to heal from betrayal is to let go of a lot of outcomes, accept the reality as it is, and then step into that reality, right?
Oh, so hard to do that.
So difficult.
Yep.
Turning and facing your fear is the way out. And it's when we talk about these faulty core beliefs, Tyler, it's like give me an example of a faulty core belief, a spike narrative, as Kobe calls it.
Okay, yeah. So I'll give you a personal one. Okay. This is one that I've carried with me.
I'm going to do a little therapy on my
pretty
brother
much.
here.
Thanks,
Get ready,
B.
guys.
Yeah,
So
I got the best in the business,
hang in
so that's
here.
good. Yeah.
Here we go.
This is something that you've heard 1,000 times before, but growing up, being the oldest of the 3 boys, I always felt this pressure to have to make sure I set an example for you and make sure that I performed to make sure Dad was proud of me, Right. And in the midst of that, I excelled at a lot of things,
Right.
But the reason I excelled at them was because I wanted to make everybody proud of me.
So the intention underneath was a lot of shame.
Shame driven.
Like you were trying to prove yourself.
100% shame driven. I always had to prove myself, and the agreement that I formed as a result was that my value hinges upon my performance.
Mm-hmm.
So then I carry that through boyhood, I carry that into college, I carry that into a marriage, and now I'm living as if my value only depends upon my performance. Now I've got this perfectionistic attitude. I can never quite hit my own mark.
So I'm not enough unless I do certain things.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. And even when I do those things, there's always something I could have done better, which means I'm still unlovable, I'm still unworthy.
So that you never can quite get there.
I've set the stage for a game that I can't win.
Right.
But I'm like a hamster in a wheel, still running that way, trying to prove myself.
Right.
And as soon as I was able to recognize that I was living that way, it was so automatic I didn't even realize that I had adopted that belief. And when I recognized that belief, I was able to go, wow, like this up here, it doesn't make sense. In my head, it doesn't make sense. In my heart, though, it still feels true. Right. And so what I had to start doing is I had to start asking myself, does this have to be true?
Okay.
The answer is no.
So you're questioning the thought.
Yeah.
First you're recognizing the faulty core belief.
Mm-hmm.
You're noticing what the belief is. My value is contingent upon me performing. That's
right.
the recognizing the belief. The next is questioning that belief.
Curiosity.
Which is not easy to question that belief because it's so deeply ingrained. It's part of your identity. Right.
Even just asking the question, you almost feel like you're betraying something inside yourself.
Yes.
And when I recognized that and said, what's it producing in my life to believe this? Nothing but misery.
Right. What are the consequences and the outcomes of that belief in your life?
Right. Nothing but misery. So would it be okay to at least entertain the possibility that thought doesn't have to be true and that maybe something else is true?
Yes.
And when I recognized that I could do that, then it became a daily exercise. Sometimes
it's both empowering and scary at the same time, right? Because you're used to playing that role, you're used to finding your worth there, but it's also like, screw this. I don't have to live this way anymore.
Right. You get sick and tired.
I'm sick and tired of the outcomes of this belief.
Right.
Yes.
And it's a constant thing because autopilot always wants to suck you back into the old way.
Yes.
But 100 times a day when I recognize that, I'd feel it more than anything in my body. I'd feel my shame come up. I'd hear that thought, you're a failure or you're not doing good enough. And every time I'd feel it or think it, I started to challenge it, renounce it, and say, no, I don't believe that anymore.
Right.
And then I would replace it with 2 things. I'd replace it with a new belief that I wanted to believe was true instead. And then one action, usually an action of kindness towards myself.
Okay.
So
excellent.
The new belief was...
some compassion back toward yourself. When Spike's just kicking the crap out of you, it's like, no, I'm gonna actually tell myself some truth here.
Right. I'm actually just a work in progress. I happen to be a son of God who's constantly going to get better. And the beautiful thing is I have until I die to grow.
Right.
That's much different than you suck. Well, what are you going to do about that?
I would add one thing, and here's the therapy part. Yeah. So, which is, you do an act of kindness toward yourself. But I would also say you challenge that belief. You look at that belief and you say, okay, like, I don't know if that's working for me or not. But to really challenge that belief, to really turn the tide on it, I think you need to step into the dark, which means you need to act against that belief. You need to do something in courage that although deep down you're feeling like my value's only here if I perform good enough, it's something like you failing, you going out there and putting yourself out there and realizing if I fail, I'm still of value. Right?
Absolutely.
If I put myself out there, right?
I've got a personal project going with me and one of my best friends, Chase.
Yeah.
We have something that we call the vulnerability series, and both of us have kind of made a list of the things that we're most afraid of, and we're trying to document ourselves doing that.
I love it.
It's really brutal. It's actually really painful, but the whole reason for that was that we wanted to make sure that, number one, I'm doing exactly what I tell my clients to do day in and day out.
Right.
But number two, like, if I want to grow, I have to step into the place where I'm going to grow, which is, you called it the darkness.
Right.
And
right.
that's hard.
One of the therapists that worked for you for a while, Alex, he back in the day, he told me he didn't believe that he was lovable, worthy of love, right? And so he was single, and he was like trying to date girls and stuff, but he couldn't ask girls out because he didn't believe he was worthy of love. So he's like awkward and like couldn't put himself out there, so him and his buddy created Rejection Tuesday where they'd go out on Tuesdays and try to get rejected as much as they possibly could. And the whole point of that was, I'm gonna face my fear. I realize that unlovability is there. I believe that about myself. I'm gonna act the opposite anyways, and I'm gonna believe for a day on Tuesdays out of the week that I am lovable. And didn't he just end up getting married?
Awesome. And have you met his wife?
No.
Oh, she's awesome.
Oh, good for Alex.
So Alex totally did the work, and it paid off. So Alex, if you're listening, good job on Rejection Tuesday, man.
But you know what? Not only did he end up with a great wife, he ended up with a whole new perspective of himself. Right? Which that shifts his energy. That shift, like you talk about this masculine energy, him being able to step into who he is more so, that makes him create so much better stuff in his world and in his life.
Well, and that's what attracts a woman like his wife to him, is because he was doing the work to shift what he's putting out into the world. Yes, exactly.
Right? It's not just the facing your fear, but him starting to gain that confidence and create that
he's no longer
change.
Shy. He's not shrinking away. He's acting with courage in the way he's living his life. And of course, he's going to match himself up with the same types of energy there.
My women's group a couple weeks ago, we were having a discussion, and one of the questions we get all the time is, how do I know when he's really in recovery? And the way I was trained years ago was to just say, you just know.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't love that answer.
No, because there's nothing concrete there.
Yeah. And it was interesting, as I was talking to my women's group, I actually started just outlining things, just boom, boom, boom. And everything that I was outlining led to this, what you're talking about, Tyler. I started saying things like they can make mistakes and they can own it, and they can forgive themselves. They can vulnerably, not only can they do this, they want to do this. They can vulnerably connect to your pain and not take it personally, because they know who they are. Base level, faulty core beliefs are out of the way. They know who they are, so they don't need you to validate them as a man. So then they can connect to your pain, right? They can be honest and authentic. They can go take risks and try to step into their purpose in their careers and what they want to do with their life, regardless of the fear or what everybody thinks about them, right? So I started listing off all these things, and the only thing it is that these men have taken their sex addiction and they've turned it into the biggest blessing of their life, because it's no longer this thing that just is a shame machine, just keeps reinforcing
makes them bad all the time.
Now it's this thing that has pushed them to look deep within, to really figure out who they really are. Mm-hmm. And as they've done that, they've learned, oh my gosh, I love myself. Like, I love me.
I like what I see in the mirror.
Yeah, I love myself, and therefore vulnerability, that can come easy, right? That can happen now, and I can create love. But it all comes down to these core principles of shame, resiliency, courage, facing the fear, and that's what real recovery is, right?
Absolutely. And I think it's hard because there's a lot of times, as you were talking about the disconnect, I was just on a phone call on my way down here with a woman who was saying the exact thing you're saying. She's like, he's not in recovery anymore. I can't see this and this and this. And she's like, how do I know if he's in recovery? And I was like, and she was asking the questions like, he's still acting out. He's still doing this. He's still doing that. Like it was all the logistical stuff that wasn't the substantial stuff that her heart was speaking.
Right.
Her heart was saying, I'm scared.
Yes.
I don't know what kind of work is happening inside of him because he doesn't share with me what's going on. And so it feels unstable. And boy, if I just knew where he was at in his recovery, I'd feel a lot safer.
Right.
Well, okay. How are we going to get to that? If you go chase down 20 questions and say, did you go to your 12-step meeting and did you do this assignment and did you do this and did you act out today? We didn't even get to the real issue.
But it's a catch-22, right? Because she wants to do that because he's resonating in fear and he's spinning around.
Sure, totally.
And
she feels it.
She feels that, and so she wants to hover. She wants to,
because she wants stability. She's
right.
She's worried about. She doesn't. The reason she's there is because she's still there and she wants to be in, and now she doesn't know she can be in because
it feels so unstable.
It feels scary.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but then the way she pursues it, because she can't be vulnerable, is she goes and asks the 20 questions, and then he gives all the answers to the 20 questions, and then she says, "I don't believe you," and you're being defensive, and then he's in addict mode, right?
Right.
And so instead, what if the question was, or what if the approach was a little bit different with a tiny bit more vulnerability that says, "Boy, I'm really hurting today. I'm getting a feeling that something might be off between us. I don't know what that is."
But Tyler, what you're saying is, like, just be like authentic with her.
That's it. Wholehearted living.
Just actually show her who you actually are,
Right. And
that's it.
And that's all what we came to at the end of this phone call is he's on the line listening. And what it really boiled down to is all these questions that she's asking was, hey, I'm having a really hard day. Can you just come and reassure me that you're still working on your recovery and that you're here for me and that you love me and give me a hug?
Yeah, she's saying, I love you and I want to be in a relationship with you.
Right.
And I'm scared that relationship's falling apart. But if he's in his faulty core beliefs, it's going to be all about him not being good enough.
He'll shrink away, or he'll get defensive.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I try to explain recovery to people, and really it is an energy thing. When we say you just know, right? But there is a catch-22 to it. And what it is usually with a sex addict, with sexual addiction, you're kind of taking your shame and you're using fantasy and sex to try to soothe that shame, right? And sex is so tied to attachment. Most of the sex addicts that I work with, what do you know? They're very codependent to their wives,
right.
And so what their wives can just give them one little bad look, and that they're spinning out of control in their shame, right? So here's the catch-22. To some degree, he needs to learn how to face his fears and step into that authenticity with her.
Yep.
But at the same time, he's early in recovery, and that shame's kicking the crap out of him, right? So what would you suggest? What do you do?
That's a good question. We run into this all the time. So one of the things that I encourage both sides to do, men and women to do, is I encourage them to develop a team of same-sex people who understand what they're going through. And then this is how it works, is that, say, she'll come to him and she'll approach him and say, hey, look, like I don't think you're in recovery right now. And he's instantly going to have it pierce his shame, and he's going to want to get knocked off his feet, and he'll either get defensive or he'll want to withdraw.
Okay.
Instead of that, what I encourage him to do is hang in with showing empathy for as long as he can, knowing that he's still got his shame here to deal with.
Okay.
And then as soon as he can, after he's done his best to show empathy, or before he goes into total victim mode, he's going to take a break. He's going to go call his buddies, and he's going to be
have someone hold some space for him.
Yeah, and he's going to be like, guys, I can't do this. Like, I'm struggling. I feel like a total failure as a husband. My wife's just chewing me apart. The team is going to help piece him back together. He's going to get a chance to speak his story and be courageous to his buddies.
Right.
They're going to catch him. They're going to turn his perspective, and they're going to remind him of who he is, which is a warrior, for good, and then are going to push him right back into his wife
to go connect with her and hold her space for her.
And that's going to be a repetitive thing
over and over again.
And over again. And she'll be doing the same thing on her side, where when that timeout happens, she's still going to be spinning and swirling. She's going to go to her ladies. She's going to get put back together. She's going to have people hear her story and validate her. They're going to remind her of why she's choosing to stay for the moment. And then she's going to come back and hopefully come back. And when they touch base again, it'll be at a little bit lower level of vulnerability.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Tyler and I were the two biggest group guys that I know of.
Oh, absolutely.
And what I mean by that, there's 12-step group, there's individual therapy, but I love therapy groups, men's and women's groups. And what Tyler just described is a healthy group working. And really that's because a group will give support. They will challenge you to do things differently than you have in the past. They'll notice your denial, and they'll hold space for you so that you can process some of your own stuff, so that you can overcome some of these faulty core beliefs. It's really, really hard to do it on your own. And when you have some brothers behind you or some sisters behind you saying, you're good enough even though you're struggling right now, you're okay, I've been where you've been, it starts to really turn the tide on that shame.
Absolutely.
So.
If I tell my clients, if they could only do one thing with their recovery early on, even as couples, group would be the way to go.
Yeah.
Because it's going to lay the foundation for that safe space and then they call you back up to who you are and they push you back into the game. And if you don't have that, you're in a world of hurt.
And I got to say, not all groups are created equally.
Oh, no, not at all.
Some suck.
Yeah.
Some are detrimental to recovery. If you get in a group with a bunch of guys who are victiming out and their denial, then they're going to feed your victim and they're going to feed your denial, right? Yeah. And if you get in there with a therapist who can't hold space there and be boundaried and push you to challenge yourselves, then you can railroad that therapist, right?
Yeah, you definitely want to find the right fit, but the principles behind what group does are just invaluable. If I could do group all day, that's what I would do.
Yeah, it's the best. Me too. I love it. All right, you guys. So we've had like a general discussion about, I think, some of the deeper roots of addiction today. What I would say is, if you're listening, to really challenge yourself. We talk about the difference between recovery and sobriety. Where are you at? Have you been willing to do the really deep soul searching and facing of that fear so you can let go of that shame and find some peace within yourself, and then you can create some peace within your relationship. So, Any last words, Tyler?
No, thanks, B. I was just going to say that along with what you're saying, I always try to help instill this idea that recovery is really less about the checking the boxes and more about connecting your heart. And if you can be willing to go into the places where your heart is, even where it's painful, that's where the healing happens. And boy, it's been a treat. What a treat to be on with you today.
Tyler always tears up, so I got almost a few tears out of him.
Right here. So I'm almost getting teared up right now.
Good way to finish. Yeah. So thanks, guys. Thanks. See ya.